Hey, hello everyone out there. Today I have the great pleasure of speaking with Sam Lewkowict, owner and CEO of Black Wolf Nation. It's a men's skincare company that's just taken the market by storm. So Sam, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure.
Excellent. So if you haven't noticed, everybody, Sam is relatively young. Before we got started here, he was, just talking to me about he and his brother and, what their family told them that they needed to do, when they were starting the company. I just think it's a great place for us to start, Sam. So if you don't mind sharing that story again, you and your brother, you guys were what, 19 and 20, or how old were you when you?
Yeah, I was about 19 in 2021. Yeah. I was in college. I was in economics. Which is super unenlightening. They don't teach you much. I love to learn. Wasn't learning much there in economics. My brother was about to go into business school in Canada, and we didn't really want to stay in school. We wanted to start our business. We wanted to drop out, and our parents, who are always super supportive, they said, with our blessing, you can just drop out and chart your own path, but you have to get the business to a place where at least it's somewhat viable. And for them, that was, we had to complete the round we were trying to raise. We were raising like an angel pre-launch round of about 175,000. And, we had to have a business plan, and we had to have a logo created and a final product sample made. And we did those things, and we dropped out and never looked back.
Wow. Now, hey, like they say, the rest is history. You guys have really, done well, but there's a lot that goes in from that point and where you are and where you are now. I've always been interested in, you have an idea, and I'll get into, where that idea, came from, and the story about you going into Sephora and things like that. But when you have the idea, how do you make sure that everything's being manufactured properly? That the ingredients are the right ingredients. How did you guys come up with the formula?
So we had a very clear vision of what we wanted in terms of an end result, which was a skincare line for guys that made the process of buying and using it really simple. We knew we wanted that. So for us, we focused much more on the positioning of the products, the packaging ourselves. And then we knew we wanted the best products on the market. So you have Kiehl's, Dermalogica, you have all these very expensive, somewhat unattainable brands. And a lot of them have actually really good formulas. So we called around to every contract manufacturer. Most people are not going to be able to go build their own factory and make their own. You have to find a contract manufacturer. Basically, they are the ones that help out with, constructing the formulas, getting your runs set up, and you effectively use their factory facilities as you go. And so what we did is we called a bunch of them. We found one based in Florida that was fantastic. Mm-hmm. They just felt different from everyone else. Like they would really take us seriously, because that was actually the biggest thing. It's most people would not take us seriously. We were just too young.
Oh, wow.
We sounded young. We weren't experienced. I don't know that we were the most articulate in the space. We didn't know any of the esoteric verbiage. So we found one that was super nice. We sat down with them. We said, okay, here are the top 3 best products in the entire space. We want you to make a product that's good or better than these. Okay. And the first thing they said to us was, do you want an efficacy amount or do you want marketing amount of active ingredients? And we said, what's the difference? And they said, with efficacy, it's enough concentration with the price of it actually working. Whereas marketing amount is just enough where you're legally allowed to put it on your bottle, but it doesn't really do anything.
Right. It's a placebo.
Yeah, exactly. We said, throw everything at it. Just throw the kitchen sink at products, because we found out that the difference between a very mediocre product and the best is like $1 per unit to manufacture.
Wow.
Right. Okay. So we said, just throw everything at it. Give us the Rolls Royce of product.
Excellent.
So they did. And we worked on that. And we finally came out with our first 3 products, launched in 2018.
And those first 3 products were?
Face wash, the activated charcoal face wash, a bump cream, and then an oil-free moisturizer. So quick dry, quick absorb. The last thing a guy wants is moisturizer sitting on their face feeling greasy. So
very true.
Quick absorb. And that's what we started with. And only 2 of those products actually sold super well. The bump cream doesn't sell as well because it's more of a unique product, but we keep it because everyone loves it.
Yeah. So there's this By the way, I love the photo of you and your brother on the website in the tub.
Right. In the bathtub, yeah.
I just think that's great. Have you guys ever thought about putting that on your bottles at all,
Oh, and maybe we should put it on the packaging. Maybe when we go into retail, we should put it on the packaging.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
We'll put the picture of us in the bathtub juxtaposed to the picture of us when we got the 30 under 30 list.
Yeah.
We'll just
Yeah,
do the
very
together.
Yeah. Congratulations on the Forbes 30 under 30.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, that was cool. My mom was super happy, probably more happy than me and my brother.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure. Very exciting for a parent, for sure.
Yeah.
So you started in the skincare industry as a salesperson.
We've been entrepreneurs since we were like 8 years old. So someone who was selling skincare approached us and said, "Do you want to help me sell this product of mine?" So I guess you could say that. But
how did that help you in creating Black Wolf Nation?
Well, it just introduced us to the skincare sphere because we couldn't actually sell a single bottle. The stuff worked, but the product didn't look very nice and the smell was awful.
Okay.
Like an alcohol smelling product. The packaging was horrendous.
Yeah.
So no one wanted to store it or to retail it, but it definitely got us curious about the skincare space. We happened to be having different skin issues at the time as well. And all of that came together to leading us to want to take a deep dive into the space, look at the trends, what was happening. And then we saw what was happening, which is that men's skincare usage was exploding from almost nothing to something that was very small, but growing at a huge clip. Lots of brands were diving in. Initially, it was all legacy brands diving in, basically selling to men the way they've been selling to women for 100 years, trying to get men to adopt the ways of taking care of the skin that women have. And what we saw was a clear lack of industry market fit. You hear about founder market fit, product market fit. There was a lack of industry market fit here, which was, you can't say to a guy, "We have an all natural organic toner and it's better than everyone else's all natural organic toner," because they're going to look at you and say, "I don't know what a toner is, but I have breakouts."
That's true.
So and we saw that clearly. So we set out to making a skincare company that would make the process of buying and using skincare simple for guys. That was the initial. We would position to them, here is a face wash for oily skin, helps with breakouts.
Yeah.
Our product is called face wash. That's it. You're not allowed to say facial cleanser, for instance, at Black Wolf.
Yeah.
There's a certain lexicon for us that we adhere to, so that we're not saying things that guys are going to be confused by.
Yeah, 100%. No, I get it. Like, keep it simple, stupid. Just let me know what it is, and I'm gonna buy it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your search in Sephora and how you used Sephora as a kind of like a research lab for seeing how.
Oh yeah. So what we did is, so we're not in Sephora. I don't think we have plans to be in Sephora. What I did was I went to Sephora a few times when we were starting this brand, and I'd actually try and watch guys try to buy product and just look, oh, what's on this bottle, what's in this packaging, just look at and just be completely confused.
Yeah.
Not what to do. The salesperson would approach, they'd run away, because the last thing a guy wants in a store is for a salesperson to walk them through the whole store, showing them all the products. It was just so confusing. And they have a men's section. It's a sad section. It's in the back of the store. They've since dissolved it completely. They just spread it out. Yeah. They've just given up on men almost. And it was just this sad section in the back with a few brands that were very expensive. And it informed very early on just how severe the problem was and how no one was really tackling it back then. And we're talking now like 2018, 2017 even, when we're doing this. So it was really early in this transition. And I think we're still early in men adopting skincare. But obviously now you see so many other brands are jumping in.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys really, have done extremely well online. When we here at Vendo met you, you guys were, all direct to consumer.
Yeah.
What did online enable you to do with the, creating everything that you were talking about with the brand experience, the brand story? How did that enable you to target men and get them to buy?
Well, the cool thing is people hit paid ads a lot, but the good thing about paid ads is that you're able to be really precise in your targeting, from a demographic perspective, but psychographic. So Facebook's really good at finding people who think and want similar things to your existing customers. It takes some time to build some traction early on, but eventually it gets rolling pretty well. But really what we were able to do is you can make changes on the fly constantly.
Mm.
We would do the customer service ourselves. And as we would learn from customers, we would change things daily. When you're in retail or even on Amazon where you can change things, it's tough to just move things around, changing prices daily, changing bundles daily. Like a really good story is when we had our first 3 products, they really were positioned for oilier skin. Most men do have oily skin, but a lot of customers would write in saying, you know, what do I buy for oily skin or what do I buy for dry skin? Because it wasn't apparent. Or some people with dry skin would buy these products and say it dries my face out. So this informed us to be able to make dry skin versions of our products. And we had a dry skin bundle and an oily skin bundle. We did that really quickly. And it was just totally different formulas, positioned differently. We made the dry stuff white, the oily stuff was black. So it was very obvious. And questions pretty much went away after that. I mean, people just knew what to buy. It was so simple.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what e-commerce allows you to do. It allows you to be very nimble, very versatile, react to changes. You're not locked into anything.
And did you guys do all that within that initial, 175K that you guys raised? Was that what you like? You got the formulation, you got the packaging, you put it out there on social media.
We grew to like significantly more than $500,000 a month before we ever raised any more money than that.
Wow.
Revenue. Yeah. We did a small angel round of about $1.5 million. It was only exclusively for angel investors who themselves had operated either e-commerce or beauty businesses.
Okay.
No institutional investors participated. And it was great because the advice and mentorship that they all offered was worth probably even more than the money they invested in most cases. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because they know what, I guess they've done it themselves. So they're really sharing with you some, things that they've learned and the potholes that they've.
Yeah, exactly. They also speak the same language as you. It's really hard to articulate your problems to somebody who has not been in similar situations because they're almost trying to learn on the job and then try to teach you.
Right.
Impossible. So it's better to have people who understand where you're coming from on everything and have them invested in you, because then they have skin in the game. I find their advice almost changes because it's different when you're giving someone advice where you have no stake in what they're doing. I think oftentimes what you'll do is you give them advice that helps them also almost feel better about what they're doing. Right. You can encourage and motivate.
Right.
That changes when you have money on the line. You give your real feedback, your real advice. True. It's much more critical, and that's just helpful.
Yeah. Very, very, very true. When you were, online, talking a little bit more about your social media, you guys I remember going onto YouTube and seeing a lot of your influencers and how did you guys, what came first? Like you reaching out to the influencer reaching out to you? How has that relationship helped you to, build Black Wolf Nation?
So it's a mixture of both. What I found is that while influencers used to drive revenue, I don't know that they do anymore. I haven't found any KPIs being able to be met with influencers at all. I saw it a little differently. I see it as a bit of an SEO play. If you Google Black Wolf or you search on YouTube for Black Wolf, I want the first 3 pages to just be reviews.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, okay, this product's everywhere and it's reviewed by a ton of people and it's reviewed well, so I should buy it. It's similar to Google reviews or getting your blogs ranked on Google search, or what we do with Amazon, getting our products on page 1 with amazing reviews. That's how I looked at it for YouTube, actually.
Right. Okay, excellent. How have you differentiated Black Wolf from the other competitors that are out there? How have you guys seen yourselves? Just how have you differentiated yourself from the other competitors that are out there?
Well, for better or for worse, I think our attitude is completely different from everyone else. No one is, I mean, there might be someone selling 2 products a day that's similar that I don't know about, but for the most part, everyone is focused very directly on, I think, being a bit unisex. So focusing to men and women. They're focused on marketing the sustainability side of this, on the all natural end of the spectrum for products. They're focused on, you know, brand and aesthetics above everything else. And we sort of looked away from all of that and said, okay, our core customers are going to be men. They're going to be in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. They need help, and we serve them first and last. And our attitude is completely different. And so when we make a decision, the decision is not based on any of those previous factors I mentioned. It's what is going to make the customer's experience better. So if you look at our brand versus other people's brands, our products, they're very simple. It just says face wash or moisturizer. Why? Because it's super simple. We need to plaster all over it that it's eco-friendly and all natural and has 85 different ingredients and jojoba. That's irrelevant to the customer. You know, are our products natural? Yeah, the best ingredients in our products. We don't shout about it because it's not important to our customers which ingredients. They just want to know it's the best product.
Right.
The second part is, you know, is it sustainable? Well, if you use up the product, recycle the bottle after, then it's sustainable. So there's no need to scream about that either.
Right.
And similarly, there's no reason to market to men and women. Women have plenty of products. There's so many out there. It's a huge space. I'd love to be able to play in the women's space eventually because of how big the market is. And I think it could be fun. But for now, I think that our customers want there to be a product that's quintessentially male, very much for them, speaks to them. The packaging is cool. It's Black Wolf. I mean, it's very different branding from most other companies. It's not obvious, right?
Right.
So, you know, we'll see how it goes in the long run. But I think that attitude of making our customers drive all of our decisions is a completely different approach to most of other companies. And I think that if you look at it as an overview, I think that we look completely different from everyone else.
You've talked, you know, a lot about, and I, you know, I think you're dead on with just keeping it simple, making it attractive to men and easy for us to understand why we need to be, you know, purchasing Black Wolf Nation. Do you find though that women are buying for their guys because they know that their guys will like it as well? Are you seeing that in your demographics?
Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah, a lot of our customers are women buying for men.
Yeah.
And the only reason I can tell you that they're buying it for men is that we can see from the customer service inquiries and a lot of the reviews, it says, I bought this for my husband.
Yeah.
And it's really not obvious. Like if you're a woman looking for a product, we're so obvious about the fact that we're for men. You might not necessarily want to buy it, which maybe hurts us, but I think also helps us in another way. I think we have some women who buy for themselves because our products are probably more effective, much more affordable than, you know, the equivalent women's product. We benchmark our $15 face wash is benchmarked against $30, $40, $50 face washes from the high-end stores that you'll go to. That's how we benchmark.
Yeah.
So if you want to get a product of any sort of equivalent caliber, you're paying a significant amount more. Whereas we're just a few dollars more than, you know, Axe or Gillette. So I think that's driving some of the reason why women, we've seen a small uptick as we've gotten more awareness, women are buying for themselves, but it's still a very small percentage.
I know we only have a few more minutes here, so I'm going to ask you a couple questions in closing. One that I think is pretty important just for other entrepreneurs out there in the audience is, how have you found entrepreneurial mentors? You talked a little bit, you know, earlier about, you know, mentors being those who are invested, but can you talk a little bit about that, how you have found other entrepreneurial mentors for yourself?
Yeah, well, it was really tough because growing up in Montreal, a lot of the mentors, people that I met were not great. And I think they thought very small, and I think that they gave us not the best direction. It was really when I started reaching out to some of the founders of the biggest companies that I knew. I aimed as high as possible. And I reached out and I said,
How did you reach out? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no problem. Through LinkedIn or Twitter.
Okay.
And I said, you know, what would I have to do for 30 minutes of your time? I started a business. We do X amount in sales, or we raised X amount of money, or something that shows that you have been able to achieve anything to work with. And, you know, I'm facing this very specific problem. I'd like your advice. Gives them something very clear to answer. And I wrote to probably 20 people, 3 answered. All 3, by the way, ended up investing in our company down the road.
Excellent.
And you have one meeting, they give you a bunch of advice. The key is take the advice, implement the advice, and report back with what happened. I
Okay.
can't believe how many times now that people reach out to me for advice, how many times I give advice, and half of them I never hear back from them. You know,
Yeah.
or I only hear back from them when they say, "Can you talk to me and give me more advice?" I don't hear
Right.
about. It's like we never spoke about the previous subject. So that's what I did, and those relationships continued to build. And I tried to invest in fewer relationships that I tried to make, deeper, rather than 1,000 that included one conversation.
Right.
Networking broadly doesn't always work. And then from there, you start to get into networks with different people, the e-com network, the marketing network, and people introduce you, and it starts to take on a life of its own. But I always recommend that people find maybe 2 or 3 people to really lean into and reward those mentors with success.
Yeah.
What they give you, try to implement it, bring some success to the table, show them what they did worked, and they'll give you more advice. It's very rewarding.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. I think that's great advice. Last question here. What's next for Black Wolf Nation? You started off with 3 products. You have more now.
Yeah.
Tell us what's next.
Skincare was the obvious on-ramp because it was the most disconnected from the consumer, we thought. We've gone into body already, hugely successful. The plan is to enter every single men's wellness vertical. From the moment a guy wakes up to the moment he goes to sleep, we want him interacting with as many Black Wolf products as possible. As long as it's solving a clear issue in their day, as long as it's simple and the best product possible, we'll do it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam Lewkowict, CEO, founder of Black Wolf Nation. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Of course, yeah, anytime. Nice talking to you as always.
Good talking to you. Take care.